Matt is a Utah native who has always been very active, playing football, basketball, lacrosse, and anything else he could get into. He graduated from high school in 2009 and served an LDS mission in France. He officially became an Aggie in 2012 and a true Aggie shortly after that. In March of 2015, Matt was in an accident that broke his neck, which left him paralyzed from the chest down. But he hasn't let that slow him down. He recently graduated from USU with a Bachelor of Science in Management Information Systems, just 6 months after his original expected graduation date. He has also earned his real estate license and currently works for Master Control as an enterprise support engineer. He married the love of his life, Sloan, 6 months ago. He has recently started driving again with an adapted truck he calls Optimus Prime. Matt continues to stay active by hand cycling, skiing, and playing wheelchair rugby. Let's give a warm welcome to Matthew Bowen.
Growing up, as mentioned in my bio, I was always super active. I was your typical little kid, just running around doing, who knows what, and getting into all sorts of trouble. And I loved playing sports, especially. I did everything that I could, and especially loved lacrosse. Actually, I got into that in high school, and I loved it because it combines the fast-paced aspect of soccer and basketball and the physical aspect of football, and you also get to hit people with sticks, so that's a pretty fun part of it. I started, like I said, I started at Utah State in 2012. I had really no idea what I wanted to study, so I decided that I'd just have some fun while I figured it out. I love doing all the events here on campus. Week of Welcome's the greatest thing ever. Day on the Quad, POBEV, and the Howl, good times. And I especially love bingo night. Some of me and my friends went a little bit hard and rambunctious, so if you ever experienced that, I apologize. But we loved it here. I also loved playing intramurals, even though my teams always sucked. Still was a good time. My favorite activity here was playing basketball at the field house. I got pretty rough sometimes, but it was always a good time too. After a couple years and a few attempts at 7:30 a.m. classes, which never lasted more than 2 weeks, I figured out I wanted to study information systems, which was kind of random because I never thought I'd get into computers, but I love it. It's been a great fit for me. 2.5 years ago, me and my friends decided to head down to Huntington Beach, California to enjoy spring break there, get some sun, and have fun on the beach. We played a lot of spike ball and spent a lot of time in the water. On the last day, I was body surfing out there and jumped up to catch a wave like I'd done 100 times that week, and this one was different. I jumped and the wave crashed me like a body slam, head down into the ocean floor. I hit my head super hard and felt a pop in my neck, and I knew immediately that something was really wrong. I waited for a little bit until the wave settled and then tried to move, realized I couldn't move anything. I was face down in the water, unable to breathe, and unable to do anything about it. I opened my eyes in a panic, looked around, and realized there was no one there. No one coming to save me, no one coming to help me out. And I realized this was probably the last few minutes I'd have on this earth. I held my breath as long as I could, but eventually needed to breathe, and so I said a prayer. I said, God, if you want to save me, do it now. If not, I'll see you in a few seconds. And then my body forced me to breathe. I was flipped over shortly after that by one of the friends I was body surfing with, and I told him, looked up at him, I said, I'm dead. And he said, no, you're not dead, you're okay. And I said, well, I'm paralyzed. And we got me to the shore. The next few moments went really fast and were really crazy. A lot of people crowded around me, and people were asking me a lot of questions. And I was coherent enough to answer all the questions, which was kind of surprising to me. But anyway, I got in the ambulance, and I remember feeling really tired, and so I asked the paramedics if I could fall asleep. And they said, yeah, and that was the last thing I remembered for a week. The next week, due to the swallowing of the water, I had really bad pneumonia. My lungs were full of gunk. And the doctors spent the whole week trying to get me to breathe on my own and clearing out all the stuff in my lungs. And I was heavily medicated, so that's why I don't remember the whole week. But when I did finally come to, I had no idea what day it was, let alone what had happened. Come to find out, I was paralyzed from the chest down, and my hands and triceps don't work either. As you can imagine, the next several months were filled with lots of rehab, emotionally as well as physically. On a particularly hard day early on in the hospital, I was complaining to my brother Steve, and he, after listening to me for a while, gave me some advice. He said, "Matt, I want you to only take 10 minutes a day to feel sorry for yourself. The rest of it, I want you to work as hard as you can to beat this." I thought that was really great advice, and so I took that to heart. Anytime since then I felt bad or felt sorry for myself, I let it happen for 10 minutes, and then I worked as hard as I could to overcome it. The other thing I realized in the hospital was that I had two choices. I could be bitter, I could be upset, and I could blame God, I could blame my friends, I could blame the doctors, I could even blame the ocean that I was paralyzed. Or I could just smile and I could overcome. And I realized that nobody wanted to be around a bitter person, and so I decided that I was going to put a smile on. It was really hard to do that a lot of the time. I felt like I made a lot of good progress, and then one small thing could set me back. For example, I loved In-N-Out Burger. That was probably my favorite place to eat before. A good double-double and a root beer, nothing better. So after I was paralyzed, I had to relearn how to eat and drink again. And so in the hospital early on, they said, what's the first thing you're going to eat? I said, In-N-Out Burger, double, easy, and a root beer. And they said, all right, well, that's your goal. And so I made that my goal. I had to start off eating and drinking nothing but ice chips. And that was great at first, but then I got tired real quick. After that, I moved to like water and applesauce and mashed potatoes, and eventually to more solid food. One day, my CNA was helping me eat, and he kind of pushed me to eat this turkey sandwich. I didn't really feel ready, but I was like, well, no better time if I'm going to eat a double-double soon. So I pushed it and ended up actually choking on it. I tried to wash it down with some Gatorade and ended up aspirating, which means my lungs filled with the Gatorade, and I lost oxygen level. The doctors told me that I had to start over with ice chips. That was unbelievably frustrating. For the past month, I'd been working so hard. But I decided that I wasn't going to get mad at the doctors. I wasn't going to get mad at the CNA for pushing me to eat that. I was going to smile. I mean, I took more than my 10 minutes that day, but I smiled. And I'm happy to report that a month later, I ate a double-double and washed it down with some root beer. Ever since then, anytime I've had a trial, any kind of situation, I remember my tough times in the hospital, and I'm able to smile. If I need my 10 minutes, I take it, but then I overcome. Everybody in this life is always confronted with a choice when they have trials. Either you can get bitter, you can blame your situation, you can blame people around you, and you can blame your whole happiness on that circumstance, that trial, or you can smile and you can overcome. And I can tell you now that smiling is the best way to do it. I never thought I'd be as happy as I am now, but thanks to these two choices and these realizations, I've been able to drive again, I've been able to get married, work at an awesome company, and do really anything I want. And I know that if you do smile and you overcome, you'll be happier than you can ever imagine. Thank you.